is the Work Your Money podcast with host Michelle Long and
Marcus Renzi.
And we have a full house today. We have two guest hosts, Ricky Brava and Anton Glotser. Say hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Don't be bashful.
Is this working?
Yes, it's working.
Mics are on.
So we can hear you perfectly.
Yes.
And we have a guest back, the wonderful Bill Staniford. Bill, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So today we're going to be talking about anything and everything in business. So let's get started. Bill, fill us in on what's going on with you.
Well, there's been a lot going on. So, my company is Urbant, and I'm the former CEO of Property Shark. Urbant is basically a next generation property shark, and we're aggregating all of New York City's real estate data, all open data sources, and conducting machine learning and artificial intelligence on top of that to predict events, such as fire, lead in water, gas explosions, gas leaks, things of that nature.
Okay. So guys, tell us what's going on with you.
In my personal life or business?
Business. Business.
Oh, okay. Business, no, it's been a very productive, dynamic year. As a lot of people may or may not know, I'm in the mortgage note space, performing and non-performing mortgages nationwide. We buy, sell, and trade with mortgagefloat.com. We're also, Anton here is my partner in other endeavors as well, and I'm going to let him tell you about those.
Yeah, one of the other things we do is oil and gas. We have a company out in Oklahoma that we own and operate numerous oil and gas wells, which are currently producing oil and gas. The other thing we do is we produce films, and this year we have 4 films coming out. Swell, Suburb Road, Big Legend, and Any Boat Will Do. We're also working on a few other films that are currently in pre- and production stages, which will be coming out next year.
Okay, that's exciting.
Congratulations on that, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Are you guys working with Netflix, Amazon?
The way we're
what's your
structured,
channels?
well, we do where we're structured right now with different distribution channels. We do a limited theatrical release nationwide, right? And then it goes to the second layer, which is the Netflix, the Hulu's, the video on demands. So that's how
As
we're
well as
structured.
DVD.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay, and Bill, so fill us in about Urbant. I'm very excited about your new company and get more familiar with that.
Well, we do have some big news coming out pretty soon. We are actually under a non-disclosure agreement with one of the major utilities of New York City, and we are using our data and technology to save lives in gas leaks. And while I can't get into the details on it, it's going to be made public pretty soon. And we're also working, we just filed a Freedom of Information Act with the City of New York to get the data for lead in pipes that are potentially causing lead poisoning in New York City. So that's one of the things that I'm very excited about. I think it's something that is a problem, and I don't think people really realize how much of a problem it is. So back, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, there was the Flint. I think had a big problem,
Yes.
and there was a lot of lead in the water at very high levels. And about 3 weeks ago, there was a study that came out and that said some of the schools in New York City had lead levels that were exceedingly high. And I think that we're going to be able to identify buildings in New York City so that we can go and replace those pipes, which I'm very excited about.
Awesome. So, guys, what is your take on that?
Are you being supported by the unions, since they're going to be doing all those jobs?
I really haven't thought about the unions. That's certainly on the city side, and I'm happy to work with the unions. I honestly don't care as long as they get replaced, right? So I assume that the unions will do that labor, and that would be fine with me. I think the most important thing is the politicians, right? Making sure that they are willing to step up to the plate and get this thing done.
This is only for public buildings?
No, this is all buildings. We have again, or you can go onto urban.com and look up any property in New York City. It's all free data, and we provide it for free, aggregated, and we basically use Urban to show people that we are capable of aggregating data, which is a lot more difficult than it seems. But what we do behind the scenes is we run machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that's really that's the way of the future. Artificial intelligence, the big data movement, smart city technologies, open source data, all of that stuff is really what's going to be happening and driving massive job growth in the future.
I agree.
And you mentioned that you were on Fox, correct?
Yeah, on Monday I was speaking on Fox Business News. An unrelated topic, I was actually discussing the NSA leaks that led to the global hacking, which has caused such consternation around the world. And that's because I am a former U.S. Marine. I worked in intelligence. I have a top secret security clearance, and I do go on Fox News to talk about national security issues periodically. I'm actually going to be on I was a guest on Water's World, which will be airing tomorrow as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Check out Waters World, guys.
Very nice. It's like 007.
Yeah, my background's pretty interesting. Born and raised New Yorker. Where are you guys from?
New York. We're from New York.
But we weren't born here, but we were raised here.
Oh, nice.
We're marinated here.
What I say is, like, once you've been in New York for 5 years, you're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
We've been in New York for way longer than that.
Yeah, way longer than that. Well, originally I'm from Ecuador.
Nice.
And I'm from Russia.
Oh, nice.
And yourself?
Well, I was born in Manhattan, but I lived in Panama for 2 years, and I also lived in Romania for a year.
Okay.
So I've lived all over the world.
I've been to Romania. Actually.
Bucharest?
Cluj.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah,
That's where my
okay.
background is.
I went to Transylvania and the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. I was in Transylvania. I was in Cluj, and that's actually where Property Shark's back office is. We have.
Oh, okay.
We still, I believe Property Shark still has over 60 employees in Cluj.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're cheaper over there.
Well, they used to be a lot cheaper, but they have great programmers there, and it was actually Bill Gates was there, not Jobs. Bill Gates went to Cluj, and there's 2 universities there, one called Babeș and one called Technica, and they actually produce great programmers. And he was there trying to recruit them and getting the programmers over there to use Microsoft products because he knew they were coming out with some really great stuff. And Property Shark was in the mix, and we were really at the beginning when Cluj started taking off. Cluj is basically the Boston of Romania. It's very interesting, and it was a wonderful experience to watch people's salaries go up. But they're part of the European Union. It's not a whole lot less expensive these days.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, you guys are so quiet today. I'm
Yeah,
listen, they're usually a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more talkative, so they're a little bashful.
Well,
Don't be
usually
bashful.
we're presenting in front of a big audience.
But this is a much larger audience, right?
Well,
Right.
don't be shy. This is
Shy?
this is my house, so everybody's open.
I would like to hear about the movies. So you
Okay, yeah.
movies coming.
It's,
So why don't we
it's
talk
funny
about
that we were speaking about the revenue sources, and we're working currently on funding one of our future projects, which is Maria Canje, right? Which is
That and Wishman.
yeah.
So that's actually a really cool project that obviously you guys all know Make-A-Wish Foundation. So we acquired the rights to make a biopic about the founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Really?
Yeah, and it's gonna be something like Ray, with Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Something like that type of movie about his life story, how his mother kidnapped him when he was like 7 years old, and then they went to Arizona. He's originally from I think Detroit.
Let them watch the movie.
It's
Well,
on
you
60
should tell
it's on 60
everyone a
minutes,
little
but,
bit.
I mean,
Give
yeah.
some teasers.
Anyway, so and then like he was homeless, and then he worked
This is the founder
the
of the
founder of the
Make-A-Wish.
movie, yeah.
He was
He-
kidnapped by his.
his mother. She
Mother?
told him his father was dead, and as a little kid, no, this literally happened.
Yes, you can see it.
And
Look up on it.
so yeah, she kidnaps him, takes him to Arizona. He's raised over there. She becomes a drug addict. He becomes homeless. He starts working as a waiter or a busboy by himself at like 12.
That's it.
Well,
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Don't give.
I mean,
it's
it's a known story, is it not?
No,
I mean,
no,
I still want to say
no.
it's interesting.
It
Well,
is
no,
very
right? Well,
interesting.
but honestly, you could just go and you can go
It's
and watch it.
I'm sure I could Google it,
It's
right?
a
Yeah.
coming of age story which has a lot of drama and a lot of layers. The parents' love. It's gonna be a
a-
award-winning film, and
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that being the case.
Hopefully, we'll win an
So-
Oscar for it.
So I'm done.
You
Hopefully it'll win an
you
Oscar,
heard it
yes.
here, guys. So if Anton says it, usually it comes true.
Yes.
50-50.
So yeah, back to the revenues, right? So yeah, it's theatrical, video on demand, Netflix, Hulu's, Blu-ray, DVD, Redbox, iTunes, and Amazon. So
Very nice.
yeah, our goal is to be profitable in any feature film endeavor that we get involved in. We don't hope and pray. We make sure that it's a sellable product at a high quality. But we have projects that range from comedies to dramas to bioepics to action, and we're working on the Maria Canja project, which is should be shooting in New York City and in Colombia. So then we also have international projects.
Okay.
Oh, and the founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, his name is Frank Shankowitz. I think he's Polish initially.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So basically, we have an international thing going on here with the films.
We're shooting a bunch of films overseas.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's an international. So you're basically not just covering here, but covering in other countries as well. So that's pretty cool.
How do you guys decide which projects you take on?
That's a good question. The way I view it, first, do I enjoy it? Do I enjoy the script, the synopsis, the lookbook, what the presentation is, right? Do I enjoy the story? Then we talk to our other partners, and if we all agree upon it, that we all enjoy it, then we talk to our distribution partners. Is this something that we can work with, right? Based on that, if everything's agreed upon, then we move forward. I mean, because I can love a story, but if not everybody else sees it that it's going to be a commercial success, we will have to pass on that.
Interesting. And do you ever do series or just films?
Just films for now. We are slowly but surely looking into that's a minor dream of mine, to work into do a TV show or a series.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Any film festivals you guys planning on?
Every single film has its own life of its own, so we don't have they all have to go to film festivals. No. If said film letting it have a film festival circuit would help its outcome, then we do that, right? But not all of them. Some are already distributions in place.
And also because we make films from different genres, there's film festivals for specific genre of movie.
Right, that's
So-
what I was looking to see if there's any that you were planning to use and that.
So I think Big Legend is actually going to the horror film festival sometime in the summer. Whereas Severed Road, that's just getting a release on October 13th.
Okay. Keep us posted on that so that we can definitely come back and
Don't you
discuss No, I'm saying to discuss it and do a formal preview on it and
After it comes out, we'll come back.
Yes, of course. So guys, what else is going on? Keep me informed. I'm getting intrigued just
Not
by
enough?
listening.
Not enough?
Not-
This story.
It's never enough.
Is amazing.
Okay. Well.
I'm going to be speaking at a the real estate fintech conference that's coming up. I believe it's on June 22nd, and I'm not exactly sure where it is, so that's not a great plug for it. But Zillow's going to be there. Citizens Bank is going to be there. I'm going to be the keynote speaker talking about the past, present, and future. I'm going to be the first keynote speaker talking about the past, present, and future of real estate, fintech, and New York City, because there's a bunch of companies that are coming out in the real estate fintech space. A lot of this is data driven, and it should be interesting. You guys should come.
Okay, it's in New York.
It's in New York.
It's in New York.
Yeah.
Where in New York?
I think it's going to be on 34th Street. It's up on it's on my
It's
on my
next to our
LinkedIn.
office. We have an office at 34th Street.
Oh, nice.
So are you aware of any fintech which merges real estate and mortgages? Or?
Well, actually, there is a company which I am going to be working on soon with a fellow coming out of Citizens Bank that is going to be specifically looking to tie in real estate data with the mortgage industry, dealing specifically residential co-ops and condominiums in New York City. It is a scalable business plan, but we're going to be starting in New York City. So you'll be hearing more about that soon.
And that would be to actually acquire mortgages, or to because what we do, we do commercial loans as well, but our main business is trading and performing mortgages all over the country.
Right.
One of the things we're doing.
So how much do you understand the term warrantable? Is that a term you're familiar with? I mean, it's amazing. It's actually amazing. The term warrantable is something that I've been learning a lot about recently, and it's such an important word for New York City real estate if you're interested in condominiums and co-ops, and it really drives the market. Nobody knows about it. Also, it's one of the most bizarre things that I've ever seen. So basically, warrantable. If a building, and actually a building is either warrantable or not warrantable. And if a building is warrantable, that means that loans that are made on properties within that building can be sold to Fannie and Freddie in the secondary market. Mm-hmm. And that's radically important, because that means that a lot of banks are going to be more willing to lend on that property, and there's going to be a lot more, which means that there's going to be more people capable of getting loans on that property, which means the value of that property by the law of supply and demand is actually going to go up. And the warrantability of a property is determined about the underlying financials of the management company of that building. It's very interesting stuff.
It's commercial real estate.
No, this is residential. This is residential real estate, and it's absolutely staggering to me.
The management, I mean, multifamily residential.
Okay, so let's say,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if you're talking about any multifamilies, we're talking about larger.
Okay.
So we're talking about condominium and co-op buildings.
Mm-hmm.
But there are, 15,000 residential brokers in New York City, and I would love
More
to
than
ask.
that. That's like 100 in this.
No.
1,000 in the state.
There's 15,000 in New York City.
That are working. The other ones say they're
Yeah,
renters.
I think there's actually 20,000 agents and brokers in New York City. Approximately 15,000 of them are residential. Approximately 5,000 are in the commercial space. Those numbers might be 16,000 and 4,000.
Okay.
But regardless, I used to do the corporate report with Pam Liebman. So
I used to be a broker too.
Oh, is that right?
That's actually.
Do you still have your license?
Yeah.
Do you know? And see, I mean, this is the thing. It's amazing how so one of the things, if a property is not warrantable, you basically need to be looking for all cash buyers.
Yeah, I've actually
Right?
had situations like that in Harlem
Exactly.
before, where I was selling.
Right, but nobody knows that.
You
And so whether they have to
get a mortgage on
right.
a lot of the not condos, but co-ops. A lot of the older co-ops, they're
Yeah.
just they're in default,
Yeah.
and you cannot get a mortgage on it if you don't get a Chinese buyer, because they're the only ones who are paying cash nowadays.
Yeah.
You can't sell nothing.
It's just a fascinating thing. I've been in the industry for over 12 years, and I had no idea what warrantable meant. I mean, it's
I still
crazy.
don't.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But there's my space is startup companies, and I work with. I'm actually a mentor at Metaprop, which is also funded by Zillow, and I'm working with Columbia University right now in their incubator accelerator, and we're trying to bring all sorts of new smart city technologies, real estate, prop tech to market, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, then now I know how busy you are,
Yeah, I got a lot of things going on.
which is always good. So, guys, I'm kind of like just taking a moment to listen in on the interesting conversation.
Okay.
So, fill us in on what you're doing with the mortgages.
Do you wanna
Okay.
talk about the
Yeah.
fund?
Yeah. No. Let's see. Let's tackle the mortgage note space. I've been in the mortgage note space, buying, selling, and trading, performing and non-performing single-family residential mortgage notes for about 8 years. I'm a public speaker on the matter, and I also advise other hedge funds that want to get into that space. For people that I deal with the bank originated mortgages, there's seller finance notes nationwide. Our business is nationwide, and it's a very scalable business for people who are looking to get a double-digit return on their capital. That's obviously the mortgage is backed by real estate property, so there's your security on investments, right? I'm actually waiting for our fund to open up a new fund, and that's going to be again a nationwide offering for investors where they can earn 7% on their money.
We'll also be the first of its kind, a Regulation A fund, meaning that non-accredited investors can come in.
Can partake. Yeah.
So I think was 5 or 10,000 is the minimum.
I don't know. We're ironing everything out right now.
Yeah.
So
we
that's
might
very
be like
exciting,
$5,000
actually.
minimum investment.
Yeah,
First
I'm aware with the platform. I've been to a few of your meetups, and I guess that's how we met. I think we met through
me.
through Anton. Yeah.
Is that where the love started?
Yes, I've seen Ricky's presentation on mortgage notes as well. It's very good, very knowledgeable on the subject.
Well, he literally wrote the book on it.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of the gurus out there, they've come through my educational courses. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't sell education or anything like that. I just do that to inform investors about this space that they may or may not be aware of. It's a very niche market. Not everybody knows about it. I mean, you could be in real estate forever and still not understand that this exists.
Mhm.
That you could not deal with tenants or anything, or fix and flips or anything like that, and you could make well over double-digit returns.
None of the 3 T's, tenants, trash, and toilets.
So,
We're gonna do it.
so yeah, mortgage notes has been very kind to me.
Yes.
And,
No.
yes.
No. I have to say you're the expert, and I'm feeling guilty now because I haven't been able to go to your events lately. I
Yeah.
do see a lot of, and you got an award. Just when was it? A
Two
few months back.
citations.
It's so many I don't remember. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but you,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
got an award. Tell us about that award. 'Cause it was a couple of months back that you got
geez,
recognition for it.
no,
Come on, don't be bashful.
Yeah, congratulations.
Come on,
Remember,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, the
Well,
citation.
yeah, I mean, I do help my community in certain things, right? And sometimes I get recognition for them, and I get, city citations for such things. So, I don't know. I don't talk about those things.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, they're
Come
honestly,
on, don't be-
that's the
don't
things
be
I
so
do in my own
modest.
time. Yeah, so there. I don't know. I got a couple of, from Rising Star, from Latino entrepreneurs and different things. Yeah, that I get sometimes.
It's
When
good
I'm
to talk
lucky.
about it.
It's good to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's good to
it
talk
helps
about
some
your
of the-
acknowledgments. I
Yeah.
mean, not
Oh,
many
really?
people know about what you get as recognition. When you have awards, you have to give your.
I always say
respect,
those things on dates, like trying to impress people. It's like, okay, I'm going to close with this. By the way, you know who I am. Please Google my name.
But on a serious note, I think
Yeah.
it helps with the younger entrepreneurs and help formulate their goals because they're able to see, oh, look, this is what Ricky did. I want to do something similar to that.
I think always giving back. Always
Yes.
being aware where you're coming from and where you're going, it's very helpful. It gives you understand where you're sitting at the moment. I think that's a key thing to learn. I'm actually, and you know what? I was thinking about starting a small charity for kids to get, their elementary supplies.
Yes.
So that's just an idea. Sometimes I come up with an idea and I take action, and I think it would be a good thing, right? Like one of the things I know growing up, like if you go to like a low income sector of the city, I think a lot of kids they don't voice their opinions, and sometimes shy. A lot of people don't realize that the kids are shy internally. Some kids are shy internally, or let's say I can't afford my school supplies. When you start school, I don't know if you guys remember, because you guys are really old. But if you just kidding, if you guys remember, you get a list. Here's the
I'm the
supplies.
oldest one here.
You get your school supply list. And then not every time your parents have money to buy you those stationary products, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that influences your ego as a child, and they don't want to speak up. Hey, I can't get this markers. I don't have these rulers. I don't have the stapler. I don't have the, and it happens.
Yes.
So that then the child becomes introverted.
Right. And they disengage.
They disengage, right? And it's not because he doesn't want to be active. It's not because he doesn't like school. It's just because he's shy and embarrassed that he can't afford some stationery that everybody else has.
Right.
So my idea was let's get a small charitable fund. So we'll start small. Like we'll take one grade. Let's go to the 4th grade. I say 4th grade because that's the first grade I took when I came to New York.
Right.
So let's start with the 4th grade. I want to start talking to teachers and ask them, hey, what is the cost of per child? And based on that, okay, let's pay out the stationery cost for one class. And then if more people get involved in my movement or that idea, then let's do the whole 4th grade class. And then let's do 5th and 6th. Because it's important. Little things like that people don't think about do affect the child. And ultimately, what do I want? I want that child to be positive, enjoy school as much as possible, right? And hopefully be a good person for society. Because if we just discard little moments like that, because little moments make a human life, then that person is not the guy who's gonna mug me on the street one day. You understand?
Right.
No,
So that's the guy who's probably gonna have a successful business and invest with me in the future, right?
Right.
So that's a thought that I want
And he might even
Voice.
be treating you. He
Hmm?
might even be treating you versus the mugging. He might be a doctor treating you.
Yeah, who knows? There's always wonderful stories like that. So that's just a thought I had the other day, and maybe I'll take after this summer. I'll focus and start that.
For the next school year.
Yeah.
Since
So that
now
would be
the one is
good.
over.
Actually, this
Excellent.
is the first time I voiced it in the air
But
out
that's
loud.
perfect.
No, but
I
you know
just had that
what?
thought.
This
It's
is the perfect
for
place
me.
for that.
I think that when you put something out in the universe,
Mm.
it'll be granted.
Yeah.
So if you're saying it here, it's gonna go out in the universe, and it will.
For your
You're welcome.
listeners, if you liked what I said, yeah, please keep get in touch with
Yeah.
me.
Yes,
So I
I'm
definitely
looking
want to do that. It's like I said.
It's also
an-
tax deduction.
That's not that's not the
This
reason.
one, Anton is always looking
That's not
for
the
some
reason,
kind of
but-
angle in regards to money, and we have to love him for that. So
Anton, working your money.
Listen, I have no problem with
Go
tax
ahead,
deductions. Obviously, you guys would be a whole lot more efficient in providing a social good than the government would. So,
Right.
to me, it's decent to provide an incentive to get those things done.
Yeah, but I'm totally looking forward to having you guys back on that. And listeners, please do support when he does decide to start that initiative.
So, Bill, I wanted to, because the last time that we spoke and you were here on the show, you were talking about your background in the Marines, which a lot of respect for anybody that
He's pulling
is-
up his sleeves. Why?
I think it's Armed Services Day today. I think it is. I think today is actually Armed
Yes, a
Services
big
Day.
shout out to all the
So shout out
men
to
and
everyone
women
that
in
did
service.
serve.
Yes.
Kudos. Props.
Yes, lots of props to anybody that is serving our country. And one of the things that I've noticed that people that have background in the military, the Navy, Marines, and so forth, they always have a very, I would say, a very organized, structured, mental. I don't know what's the word for it, but
Discipline?
well, yes, discipline. But it's like when your mind is focused on something, it's like boom, it's just full force. And because I know quite a few people that are military personnel, they have that background, and they are very successful in business. So I just wanted to get your take on that, because I know that you're in the Marines.
I'm probably one of the most disorganized people that I know. No, I'm serious. I am a business person, but I am a psych major. Actually, I studied evolutionary psychology in my undergraduate degree, and then went on to get an MBA. But I'm not incredibly disciplined. I'm not incredibly structured. I am much more creative than most people would think. And actually, my time in the Marine Corps was difficult for me, because it was hard for me to get up and make my bed perfectly every morning. It was hard for me to make sure that all my clothes were pressed a certain way, and my boots were shined, very, very well. That was a problem. I didn't like it at all. And so there's a lot of different people in the Marine Corps, but I was actually a very good shot. I was great at I was actually a rifle instructor, and I was intercepting and decoding radio transmissions in Peru and Colombia and Nicaragua.
Why you gotta look at me?
I was in your backyard. No, it was a great experience, and it was really fun living in Panama and learning a different culture. But listen, the Marine Corps and armed services were great, and actually that's a good segue into the charity and the initiative that I'm working on, which I think you might be interested in. Well, I have another company. It's actually a cosmetics line called Model Launcher, and I'm actually working with a fellow named Daryl Spivey over at Roker Entertainment. And we've been talking about putting on a show, actually.
Okay.
We're speaking with HBO and Showtime right now.
This is interesting.
Because they were actually showing
it's actually really interesting. So there's an organization which I'd like to do a shout out to right now. It's called Operation Underground Railroad, and everyone should know about this organization. It's headed up by a fellow who's a former CIA, Homeland Security, and he hires Delta Force and Navy SEALs, and they go in country to free girls from the sex trade, slaves.
Wow.
And a portion of the proceeds of Model Launcher goes to fund the Operation Underground Railroad. And we are actually in the process of putting together a pilot for an actual show, a series that is going to highlight that organization, and also tie it in with Model Launcher in the modeling space, and it's very interesting.
Oh wow!
That's very
okay.
cool. It's sort of like Vice, like
with
their shows.
Well, the premise of the show is it's loosely based on myself. It's a former U.S. Marine reconnaissance, which I was not, but the main character is former Marine Corps reconnaissance, who befriends an individual who's a billionaire. He's loosely based on a true life person that I have a contact with. Probably shouldn't say this on the air. And that individual also owns a modeling agency, and together we create a cosmetics company as an international platform for a cover to conduct operations to free girls from the sex trade, and the show's called Concealer. So,
wow.
See that?
I love that. And
It's kind of like, it sounds like it'll be kind of like Nikita, but
yeah, I mean, we're still, again, it's not my area. It's my concept, right? But I'm not a creative type, so I have a writer that's writing, and I have this awesome guy from Roker Entertainment, and we have a follow-up meeting with HBO next week. So fingers crossed, and hope. Hey, maybe these guys would like to get involved, and then it would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's very interesting. It's a very synergetic group you're putting here.
yeah. You know what was missing out of this element is my friend George. I told you about him. He's from HBO. He's a writer, and he talks about sex trafficking as
Yeah,
well.
it's a big issue right now.
Yeah,
And-
it's called The Life. He's had it for a couple of years, and he's trying to put it into, I guess, mainstream broadcast like ABC or
Yeah.
Network, yeah, network.
yeah. But he's very passionate about it. He talks about it all the time, and one of the things that he does consistently is that he's always doing research, because to make it so believable, you have to do a lot of research, and he does interviews with some of the girls that have had their experiences. So it was one of those things that he was telling me the process and how it, so it's.
Yeah, I mean, so I first got introduced to this issue when I was working at Property Shark, and that was a decade ago in our back offices in Romania. And Romania is one of the hotspots for trafficking women out of Eastern Europe, and I became, and the modeling world is one of the main pathways to attract these girls. They say, oh, we have an opportunity for you to be in, to do a photo shoot, to become a model. And these girls they want to make something of their lives, and they take a risk, and they could lose their life through this. One of the stats that I find so distressing about it is, once a girl has been trafficked, right, from the day she's been trafficked, her average lifespan is 7 years. That's it.
Wow.
So if she's trafficked at the age of 15, she'll live to 22, and that's it. It's awful.
Wow. But I really am looking forward to seeing your show up, and
Well, we got a long way to go.
No.
But listen, it's fun and it's a passion, right? So everyone, and that's one of the things that I would say to the listeners. No matter what you do for your day job, no matter how important it is, it's very important to pay the bills and to keep a steady job. But it's also very important to have something that you're working on the side that you're passionate about. I can't even imagine not having something like this that I can be creative, a creative outlet to work on.
I don't know, but listen, talking about what you're passionate for, and being a role model. We have 3 role models here discussing outside projects apart from the day-to-day. That is a lot of respect there,
Yeah.
So a lot of kudos and a lot of props to you guys. And so Anton, you're like the most quiet out of the group. Kind of fill us in what's going on with you, because
I'm the loudest.
come on, fill us in on what you're up to.
Well, our third company is the oil company, which we've been doing that since the oil started falling from $150 to
Right.
At one point it was at like 35. Now it's at about 50.
Yep.
And again, oil is a very geopolitical, very volatile type of market. Even though, only until last year we didn't export anything out of America. We just imported. And most people don't know that a lot of our oil actually comes from Canada, which is a pretty stable country. I think only like 20% or something comes from the Middle East. Majority of it comes from Venezuela, South America, all those areas, and Canada, and domestic production. Which is, what we do is just domestic production, and we are comparatively small, but again, we started a company. I actually started a company, and then Ricky joined me about 2 years later, and I did my first oil deal was about 50 grand, and now we're, I'd say, only about $5 million in assets
That's impressive.
in 4 years.
Yeah, my brother's in Texas, and he keeps me up to date on the oil industry because it's so impactful in the local community there. But that's great, and I think obviously everyone's trying to phase out oil. I mean, I don't know how much about what's been going on with it. There's this it's called 80/50, and there's a lot of I know that Mayor de Blasio has been involved in it, and he's trying to make sure that we cut down fossil fuel emissions by 80% by the year 2050, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the oil industry. Don't you think?
Yes and no. So it takes about at least one full generation to actually cycle out an entire infrastructure, because globally speaking, and then speaking just about America, the infrastructure is set up for oil. You know,
absolutely.
cars drive on gas.
I mean, we're talking about 2050.
Yeah, I know.
So,
But again, 2050 is quite a bit a long way
Yeah.
away. You know, when people come to me, oh, why are you in oil? Oil is gonna be phased out. Sure, in another 20 years maybe, but between now and 20 years from now, oil in general is a diminishing asset. There's never gonna be more oil tomorrow than there is today. It takes hundreds of millions of years for the planet to make the oil. So it's not like we're making any more of it. I mean, we are, but
but it seems like we keep finding more of it.
we keep
And I mean,
finding.
because I remember everyone saying, "Oh, there's not," and then
There's a
from my
lot.
understanding now, the United States could potentially become the largest oil producer on the
Shale,
planet.
Yeah.
shale,
Right,
But
but we didn't have the
the-
technology beforehand to get
Right.
the shale, right?
But the break even on shale is like $80.
Is that right?
Right, so we're buying assets at a break even of $20, and if the price of oil goes up to $80, we just made 4 times the
Sure.
money. So how is that a bad deal?
No, it's great. It's all in the finances of it.
Right. So, when people say, oh, well, oil's going to go down, and, it could go up and down, but realistically, depending on how long term you're looking at, it can only go up because all the cheap oil is being exacerbated. So the only thing that's left over is deep sea drilling, which is like, some of it is $200 break even points, like the
Yeah.
stuff they found. The biggest oil field is off the coast of Brazil. But it's also, like 9 miles underground or
Right.
between the water level, and that's $200 break even point.
Sure.
Tons of oil, but if you're not at $200, you're not making any money, which means nobody's getting it. So if oil goes up to 200, probably gonna be pretty bad for the
Listen,
economy.
I'm a big proponent for domestic drilling. I think it's very important to be independently,
And
producing.
the reality is, like we are in Oklahoma, we don't do anything in Texas for 2 reasons. One is because everybody else goes to Texas.
Right.
Well, what happens when people do is the prices go up. So we can get the same deal in Oklahoma. The actual oil field is the same. The Scoop, South Central Oklahoma oil province, it actually goes from Oklahoma City all the way down to like middle of Texas.
How often do you go down there?
Every like 2 months. I'm actually going there next month.
Right.
So I'm there. I have a place there. So, you know what my rent costs in Oklahoma for an apartment? $300.
Yeah, I was about to say it probably
It's
costs
cheaper
less
than
than a
parking.
parking spot. in
Yeah.
New Jersey, right.
And it's like a huge space too.
Yeah.
It's more money.
But Oklahoma, a quarter of the jobs are in the oil industry, and
Yeah.
then the other quarter is farming.
Yeah.
So when oil prices went down, they lost I think $3 billion in revenue in the state,
Right.
which means comparatively to Texas, which Texas has a lot of oil jobs too, but not as many because it's bigger and more people, more variety of industry.
Well, I'm very familiar with Texas because I went
Oh.
to the University of Texas.
Oh, okay.
I am a Longhorn.
So, for example, a teacher in Texas makes about, I think, 50 to 60 grand, just a regular education job.
Right.
In Oklahoma, literally, you can walk to it, half the money. You're making about
25,
high
30.
20s, low 30s, same teaching job.
Right.
Because the state has basically no money because they're not getting any tax revenue from the oil because the prices are down. And a lot of other states are like that too. People, for example, don't know that New York State has over 500,000 oil wells. None of them are in New York City because the land is more expensive than the oil. But you go upstate and it's just wells after wells.
So you guys are partners in the real estate and the mortgages and the
Mhm.
oil and the movies.
Yes.
That's great.
But we're straight. Just get out of the way, you throw partners around and just say.
Yeah.
Making
and
sure.
what you
Business
don't-
partner.
Yes.
What you don't
There
know
you
is
go.
that Ricky is also a stand-up comedian.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
We actually had a very, despite that we only met a couple of years ago, but we had a very similar business history. We were both models when we were younger. We were both actors when we were younger.
Many years
We
ago.
we both did fix and flip and real estate for many years as
Right.
well, and then switched to mortgage notes, and that's actually how we met through the mortgage note
And
business.
we're
Very
both foreigners,
And we're both not born in this country, but grew up in New York City.
but with sexy accents.
There
you go.
There you go, ladies.
There you go.
Ricky is giving out his profile.
Profile, yeah.
But
Oh yeah, I would promise a friend. So hello Ruslana, thank you for listening. It's a shout out.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So just I don't know what's the just so I know.
What, the
That's
time?
Yeah.
That's it.
We have time. All right. Good. I was gonna tell people to visit the website, but
Go ahead.
Go ahead, listen, it's an open.
All right, so yeah, for the people that are interested in the mortgage note space, please, and or a commercial loan, everything nationwide, including New York, please visit mortgagefloat.com. That's mortgagefloat.com.
Right.
Anton?
For the oil company, if you're interested in investing in oil and gas, and it is, right now we're doing Oklahoma, Kansas, and I think Arizona also, or Colorado. It's Texas, like the state, TexasOGM.com.
Okay.
Oil and gas management is what the
And bringing it back, forget the website for the movies, just go see these movies when they come out. All right?
Okay, and which are? Say them again.
Any Bullet Will Do. Any Bullet Will Do. It's a great Western film.
Okay.
You're gonna really enjoy that. And Big Legend. I'm not gonna give away Big Legend, but it's
a monster film.
It's a monster film. It's really cool. So just watch those. And obviously, those are coming up very soon. And we do have the 7.
When's the release?
Right now they're in post production, so they're just tweaking the edits, and so that's why I don't have a release date. I don't have a release date yet, but I know it should be this year.
Oh,
so
great.
yeah, so
It's exciting.
As Big Legend, and also Any Bullet Will Do, and for the Halloween season, it's Severed Road.
Okay.
And you're gonna be thrilled. It's a I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, but just to say. It gives me, a feeling. It's going to be very intense horror flick that everybody's going to know and talk about. It's going to be like a Saw thing that everybody knows what Saw is.
Yes.
Everybody knows what Friday the 13th
Yes,
is.
and you know what?
Everybody's going to know what Severed Road is.
Listen, I'm a big fan of horror movies. So
Oh,
I
there you
love
go.
horror movies. My second one is actions and comedies after that, but I'm a big horror.
Oh, this is a body horror movie, so.
No. I mean anything horror.
I mean, that's not
Anything to do with horror movies, I
I
love horror movies since I was a kid. My parents wouldn't allow me to watch horror movies, but I did anyway. So the only thing that I'm not too keen on is zombie movies. I don't know why. I'm not too like.
You didn't get into that, huh?
No, I don't know why, but I had a friend that I have a friend that introduced me to The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I watched the first episode, and I don't know, I guess because there was a part in the there was a scene where the zombies attacked the horse, and because I'm big with animals, I saw that, I was like, oh, never mind, I'm not watching this again, and that just kind of killed it for me. So
Okay, so
Don't
we can
do-
eat the human but not the horse.
no. No. And Bill, please tell us where people can find you.
So if anyone's looking at properties in New York City and they want to get some underlying information about it and don't want to spend any money on Property Shark, you can certainly go to urbint.com. Urbint stands for Urban Intelligence. It's just URBINT.com. And if anyone's interested in cosmetics or model launcher, and it's modellaunchercosmetics.com, and that is for the cause to help fight the fight against the sex trade.
Okay.
That's
And Marcus, where can people find us?
Yeah, everybody can tune in at workyourmoney.net, also thewimgroup.com.
Oh, and you can check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. That would be Work Your Money Podcast. And we're also now on YouTube. So
Yeah.
this film that we're doing right now, this video, is going to go on YouTube.
Subscribe. Here.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Nice.
So guys, we have a few minutes left.
Okay, yeah.
So you guys basically talked about everything that's going on business-wise. We can continue it forward with
Our hopes and dreams.
no, an open forum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys can talk about anything else you want to share.
Okay, how many tattoos you have? Because you're a Marine.
How many? I have
You're a
no
Marine,
idea.
yeah.
Actually, it's very interesting. And I have no tattoos.
Oh,
And
okay.
when I was in, I was immediately cleared for a top secret security clearance.
He's
And
definitely an undercover guy.
it's interesting because I did tell if I ever wanted to become or join the CIA, it would have been easier without having a tattoo because they have to any scars on your body or anything that's identifying has to be. Yeah, I mean, it has to be written down, taken into consideration. They don't necessarily want easily identifiable marks on their operatives. And so I said, well, that's a good reason not to get one, so I just didn't.
How about you?
I don't have any tattoos.
Alright, just I'm not into tattoos, so I just figured,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
I
funny.
was-
That's funny.
you
I
have
was
one.
kind of thinking a little bit outside of that kind of conversation.
Oh, okay, money conversation.
Yeah, money conversation.
Okay.
Any pointers? Anything like
Yeah,
that?
so I'll bring something up that I think is pretty interesting. Everyone should be aware of cryptocurrencies. If you're not aware of cryptocurrencies, you should probably start learning about them. Ethereum's one of them, obviously. The other one, the main one,
It's Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin. And these are all about the blockchain technologies. If you
Yes.
don't understand blockchain technologies, do yourself a favor and at least start to learn a little bit about them. Blockchain technologies are going to be around with us until we're dead. They're not going anywhere. And they're going to start creeping into all facets of your life, including certainly your money, definitely going to get into the real estate space. There's countries around the world that are digitizing their titles and they're moving it onto the blockchain. I think Ethereum actually, it just spiked. If you're talking, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that, I'm not
They're all
positive.
actually.
Yeah, I think,
Bitcoin is at like $1,600 now.
no, Bitcoin's at 1900.
Oh, good,
And,
good.
and
Well, some-
Ethereum,
that
I
was
think, is
800.
at 120 something now, which is
Yeah.
up
gonna
almost
start
50%. Listen,
So-
it's unbelievable. But what it really shows you, in my opinion, is that people don't trust the government,
Right.
and they're looking for ways, other places to put their money, and they don't trust the U.S. dollar. And listen, I think actually I'm a big proponent of the cryptocurrencies. I don't own any cryptocurrencies, just so everyone knows that. But I do think that they're going to be around for a while, and I do think that people should get to know them.
What do you think the market is headed? Because they're not controlled or standardized or
Right.
tagged.
Well, they are
tagged to
controlled,
anything.
right? I mean, so that's the beauty of the blockchain is that it is actually controlled, and
Well,
the market
process
controls
is
itself.
controlled, The market
right?
controls it, but there was so much, at least in the past, and I think still now, there's so much room for hacking where, Mount Drax got hacked 2 years ago, and everybody just lost their money.
Right.
And this actually happens pretty often,
Yeah.
still to this day. So,
Sure.
I don't invest that much money in this.
Yeah, and money and
Bitcoins
physical currency gets stolen as well, right?
Well,
So
of
I mean,
course.
I think but it's just interesting to point out. So if you compare it to a hack of a cryptocurrency to, like, say, a bank robbery or
Theft.
getting to a
Yeah.
theft, you'll see that it's actually a whole lot safer to be in the cryptocurrencies. And
So you think it's gonna go up in value in the long run?
in the long run, I think they're all gonna go up in value. Yeah,
I mean, I'm
I
not-
think there's gonna be more cryptocurrencies introduced. It's
Well,
gonna
there's
be
already like a few thousand different
Yeah.
kinds.
Yeah, I mean, but right now I can't even. There's a third one that I don't.
Litecoin, Ethereum. Give me a second, actually.
But Bitcoin is obviously the leader. Ethereum is number 2. There's a third one.
Ripple.
Yeah, I think it may be Ripple.
Yeah, there's the top one. Bitcoin,
Right.
Ripple, Ethereum, and Litecoin,
Yeah.
and also
Who
Dash.
came up with these things?
A bunch of nerds.
You
Well-
know who did? This is my theory. A married guy.
He didn't want his money tracked.
Well, there you
Oh
go.
wow, Bitcoin is at $2,000 already.
Yeah,
I should have bought more.
yeah. It's been moving.
Yeah, because when he gets divorced, it's not traceable, so he doesn't have to pay alimony on his bitcoins.
Right.
So that's why I said to
and-
marry a guy.
and who-
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, and who said it was a man? It could have been a woman.
That makes
Oh,
more
we
money.
know
yeah.
we know that
Oh,
we know
that's
that
right,
Bitcoin,
that's right.
we know that Bitcoin was started by a Japanese fellow. We know that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm
I'm gonna guess he was married and he got divorced. And he's like, I can't do this again. I mean, start working. So that's,
So anything else that's trending that our listeners should know about?
Where do you think the real estate market is heading? Because I know a lot of people are saying that there's going to be another bubble. Because, it is a cyclical market and we are due for a downside.
So when I talk about New York City,
New York City is
the only
kind of a bubble.
market I talk about is New York City right now. I don't have data in anywhere else, and I do believe that we're going to see some more downward pressure in New York City. Certainly, the luxury market, the high end, has been taking a beating, which it should be. Is that it just got completely out of control with the developments there, and there's too much supply, so prices are going to come down there. But I do see that we're going to be seeing downward pressures. But again, New York is rock solid, always going to be rock solid for the long term. So people coming into New York City are in no danger. I did predict accurately. It's on tape. I did predict the downturn in 2008 accurately. So, but not that was very difficult. I had the data. I saw the foreclosures. I knew that there was a lot of distress in the market. We're not seeing anything like that. So while there may be somewhat of correction, which I do believe, we're talking about 5 to 10%, nothing more than that.
Mm-hmm. So what neighborhood do you think is the next Long Island City? Or
Right.
the
Well,
next,
Everybody wants to know.
Everyone wants to know that, and I'm actually starting to think, how can I be a part of making that decision? Right, so that's what I'm starting.
How can
to
I be
think.
part of the investment?
Right. Well, I mean, so I'm looking at. We're starting to do regression analysis on different neighborhoods to see if we can find some data points that can lead us to a conclusion of where the next area is going to be. There's a couple things that I'm looking at, but right now it's very hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
This is a very cryptic answer.
Yeah, it's a very good. I'm trying to avoid that one.
He knows. It's just a gold mine information right there.
We'll have an off-air conversation about it later.
Listen, it's all good. I just love the energy right now. I'm just listening in on what's going on with every aspect of the different businesses. So it was an interesting conversation with you guys, and I love the fact that we were able to put everybody together, have great synergy here, and hopefully that goes outside of here. I'm looking to see if there's projects in the works with you guys. It seems like it went pretty well.
I mean, no, you're pulling something very impressive, honestly. It's hard to get me to go somewhere and get these guys, who I'm sure are very busy, to meet up at once. That's not a conference where, you're exposed.
Or filled with hot women.
Yeah. So that's really cool.
Well, only one woman.
Well, thank you, but I just, I just feel like I'm a very laid back person when it comes to doing presentations and things like that. I like it to be fun, so that's the reason why I love doing what I do with the podcast. I like people to be comfortable, be themselves, and just have fun. That's
I'm
basically.
very uncomfortable. Not myself today at
You
all.
need to get softer chairs.
Didn't know I was gonna be on camera, by the way. I would have put makeup, do the hair properly.
Oh,
You're really killing me today.
listen.
It's like, I have this
We got
full
this little
image.
violin right there.
Do not go on YouTube, please, people. Just don't. That's not what
Listen,
I really look
we
like
have-
today.
Ladies, don't listen to him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 good-looking guys here. So that
Look at that. She threw you guys under the bus.
And Marcus and
Poor
oh,
Marcus.
wait,
I don't know what he did to deserve that.
No, but I'm talking about our guests. You're trying to get me into trouble, aren't you? Listen, we have 3 good-looking guests. We also have a good-looking host, and we have a good-looking cameraman behind the scenes. So
Hey, you
it's
should
all
be in front of
good.
the camera, this guy.
It's all good.
What are you doing over there?
So guys, we're wrapping up our show. It was a lot of fun to have Bill Staniford here, Ricky Brava, and Anton Glotser, and always Marcus Renton. And this is the Working Money Podcast. Until the next time.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks so much for coming. We appreciate it.
No, it's a
Absolutely.
great
Thank
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for the invite.